various topics related to indigenous knowledge of performing and visual arts and its relevance in higher education. In today's lineup, we
Charger
have
line on.
Professor Pandit Sanjoy Bandopadhyay joining us as our first expert, uh, who will be guiding us on his topic Raga Beyond Performance: Strategic Alignment of India's Musical Heritage with Higher Education Reform. His lecture shall be followed by Professor T.K. Venkatasubramaniam sir, who will be guiding us on time as metaphor and history, performance and tradition in music. In the post-lunch session, we shall be having two more experts, Dr. Swati Datar and Dr. Swati Dhruva, joining us. I request Shri Fenil Soni sir to please introduce Sanjay ji and take the session forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhavik sir. Namaskar and good morning. Today we are indeed fortunate to have with us Professor Sanjoy Bandopadhyay sir, who will be our esteemed resource person for this session. Professor Pandit Sanjoy Bandopadhyay is a distinguished sitarist, guru and academician whose career bridges performance, pedagogy and research. He has served in leading academic positions, including Ustad Alauddin Khan Professor of Instrumental Music at Rabindra Bharati University, Director of the S.M. Tagore Center for Documentation and Research of Languishing and Obsolete Musical Instruments, Coordinator of the UGC SAP DRS Research Project, and later Professor of Music at Sikkim University. Earlier, he held faculty appointments at Indira Kala Sangeet Vishwavidyalay, Khairagad. Internationally, he has contributed to music education and cultural exchange as an artist in residence at the University of Chicago, the University of Colorado, George A. Miller Visiting Professor at the University of Illinois, and distinguished India Focus Visitor at the University of Alberta. His research outputs include publications in referred Scopus and Web of Science indexed journals and international conference proceedings. Several of his disciples have emerged as highly accomplished Hindustani musicians. We are honored to have Professor Sanjoy Bandopadhyay with us, and I now invite him to enlighten us with his insights. Thank you so much.
सबको नमस्कार। और हम आपके साथ साझा करते हैं हमारी जो पूरी बहुत सोच है, वो प्राइमरीली जो है कि एनईपी 2020 के साथ जैसे म्यूजिक जुड़ा हुआ है, क्योंकि अभी जो है एनईपी 2020 एसडीजी सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट गोल्स स्पेशली नंबर 4 इसके साथ जुड़ के तैयार हुआ है। अभी ये समय है कि हम एनईपी 2020 का जो कॉन्सेप्ट है, जो बहुत ही गजब की कॉन्सेप्ट है, उसको हम इम्प्लीमेंट करने के लिए काम करें। तो हमने ये समझने का प्रयास किया, बिकॉज उसमें बहुत से टॉप ऑफ द लाइन, टॉप ऑफ द ब्रेन्स ऑफ द वर्ल्ड जुड़े हुए थे जो एनईपी 2020 बनाए हैं। तो उन्होंने जो बनाया है वो तो बहुत ही अच्छा है, और उनका जो उद्देश्य है कि हमारे देश को टू कन्वर्ट इट एज ए डेवलप्ड कंट्री और एजुकेशनल हब ऑफ द वर्ल्ड, जैसे सारे संसार के लोग इधर पढ़ने के लिए आ जाए। तो इसके लिए उन्होंने बहुत अच्छा, मतलब बहुत सोचे हैं और सामने दिए हैं हम लोग के, ये गिफ्ट है देश के लिए। तो हमारी ये उत्तरदायित्व बनता है कि जो टीचर्स है वो उसको साकार करें, तो हमारे देश आगे बढ़ेगी। तो ये समस्या हो जाती है कि कि म्यूजिक को हम जैसे देखते हैं, संगीत को, तो हम उसको मोटे तौर पर जो मन को आनंद दे या बहुत करके स्पिरिचुअल मोक्ष लाभ करे या इस ढंग की जो बातों से जुड़ता है। लेकिन एनईपी 2020 हमें रास्ता दिखाए कि म्यूजिक को, मतलब हमारी म्यूजिक एजुकेशन वो हमें और मतलब इसके अलाइड, मतलब इसके साथ और भी दूसरे दिशा में सोचे और ऐसा कुछ करे, म्यूजिक ऐसा कुछ सामने लाए, ऐसा कुछ कैटलिस्ट बने कि ये जो है देश को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए सहूलियत हो। तो हम लोग जितना सोचे है वो तो ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं, बहुत अच्छी बात है, हमारी परंपरा बहुत स्ट्रांग है उसके लिए बोलने का जरूरत है, हम लोग सब जानते हैं। हमारी जो क्वालिफिकेशन है उसमें हम लोग को बोलने का बहुत ज्यादा जरूरत नहीं है, सबको बहुत जानते हैं। सब पेपर में वही बात होती है कि इतने हजारों साल से चलते आ रहे, हम लोग इतने महान हैं, इसके लिए कोई रिपीटेशन की जरूरत नहीं है। बात यहाँ पर है कि आज की तारीख में नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी हमारे सामने है, तो उसके साथ म्यूजिक कैसे जुड़े कि उस पॉलिसी की इम्प्लीमेंटेशन हो, ये हमारे लिए अभी अभी का जो है सोचने का मुद्दा होनी चाहिए। तो इस हिसाब से हमने सोचने का प्रयास किया कि नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में बहुत सी बात कही गई है, तो उसमें से कौन कौन सी बात है कि जिसके ऊपर हम थोड़ा सोच सकते हैं और हम उसमें जुड़ सकते हैं, और उसमें हम सहायक हो सकते हैं कि हम वो ऑब्जेक्टिव्स जो है वो हम प्राप्त कर लें। तो इसीलिए हमने हमारे जो आज के प्रेजेंटेशन है, रागा बियॉन्ड परफॉर्मेंस, स्ट्रेटेजिक अलाइनमेंट ऑफ इंडियाज म्यूजिकल हेरिटेज विद हायर एजुकेशन रिफॉर्म अंडर NEP 2020, उसमें देखिए कि ये जो आपको स्लाइड दिख रहा होगा, ये स्लाइड में तो एक कोई वीणा जैसा, ये AI जनरेटेड स्लाइड है, क्योंकि ऐसा तो मोटे तौर पर हमारे दिमाग में आता नहीं है। फिर आर्टिस्ट को बहुत पता लगा ऐसा करिए वैसा करिए, तो वो तो हमारे सामने पास आर्टिस्ट नहीं थे, तो मैंने AI को बताया कि ऐसा ऐसा कुछ वीणा रखे, उसमें वीणा वादक रहिए, उसमें कुछ साइंस की बात हो, बिजनेस की बात हो, निगोसिएशन की बात हो, ऐसा करके कुछ एक बना दीजिए। तो ये AI ने बना दी, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस। जो आपके सामने जो स्लाइड दिख रहा है कि आप लोग कोई, अच्छा एक बात और भी बताई थी कि हमें ये बताया था कि आप तो 90 मिनट का आपका लेक्चर है, आप पूरे समय बात करेंगे, उसके बाद कोई प्रश्न होगा तो प्रश्न करेंगे। तो ये बहुत हजम नहीं हुई, क्योंकि हमारे जो अटेंशन लिमिट है ना वो 20 to 25 मिनट्स है, उसके बाद हम सुन नहीं सकते। तो इसीलिए मैंने कहा कि, और हम गाने बजाने वाले हैं, हम क्या बात सुनने के लिए आदी है, या ऐसा भी कलकत्ता वाले जो ऐसा है कि बहुत बड़े जैसे आर्टिस्ट सरोज बजा रहे तो बोले कि खासा बहुत खराब बजा रहे हो, हम घर जाकर तो आपको पुरानी रिकॉर्डिंग सुननी पड़ेगी। तो इस जगह के आदमी है, तो आपको अगर खराब लगे तो बेशक आप बताइए कि इस जगह को आपको मतलब क्लैरिफिकेशन की जरूरत है, या प्रश्न कर सकते हैं बीच में, तो जरूरत पड़े तो माइक्रोफोन ऑन कर लीजिएगा। और जहां तक हमारे उधर मतलब MS यूनिवर्सिटी सवाल है, मैं आप लोगों को पूरा स्क्रिप्ट दे दूंगा, तो उसको पब्लिकेशन में कहीं कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगा। इसके वर्बेटिम कर भी सकते हो, लेकिन बाकी आपको वो भी मिल जाएगा, इसीलिए इंटरेक्शन हो तो इसमें मना मत करिए। तो प्लीज गो टू द स्लाइड 2। इसमें ऐसा है कि उसका बेसिक्स जो हमें थोड़ा सा डिस्कस करनी पड़ेगी। फ्रेंड्स, let us do some brainstorming and try to pinpoint some fundamentals on which today's ideas will bank upon. Let us quickly discuss a few basic concepts before proceeding towards the actual presentation. This is like tuning the instrument. हम सीधा थोड़ा ट्यून कर लेते हैं, तन पूरा ट्यून कर लेते हैं, पूरा सभा जो है गाने का मूड आ जाता है। So like the tuning the instrument before and deciding the raga before you start the recital. When we seek to connect raga music with the vision of NEP 2020, we must begin with its foundation. The idea is by 2040, India aspires to establish a world-class education system that offers equal access to high-quality learning for all. This is following SDG 4. At its heart, the policy emphasizes nurturing the creative potentials of every individual. Quote, education is expected not only to build cognitive skills from literacy and numeracy to critical thinking and problem solving, but also to develop social, ethical, and emotional capacities. NEP 2020, page 3 and 4. This nurturing of creativity is seen as essential for holistic growth. A society enriched with innovative minds can drive national progress and help India achieve the stature of a developed nation and a global educational hub. The question before us then is, how can music support this vision? Innovation originates in the brain. Brains that display higher levels of neuroplasticity, greater flexibility and engagement across diverse regions are more likely to generate fresh ideas. मैं थोड़ा सा आपस में बात करना चाहता हूँ, ये तो ठीक है, हम बोलते जाए बहुत सारे आइडियाज, असल में हम इधर जो है हम अपने थॉट्स को केंद्रित करना चाहते हैं कि हम जो काम करते हैं, जो बात करते हैं, जो भी कर्म होती है ना, वो पहला जो है ये ब्रेन जो है मेनली काम कराते हैं, नहीं तो हम ये हाथ उंगली भी नहीं हिला सकते, कुछ भी नहीं कर सकते, हम ना ड्रीम कर सकते, कुछ भी नहीं, नथिंग, वी कैन डू एनीथिंग। तो ब्रेन से जनरेट होता है, और ब्रेन से क्या होता है, अगर जिसको मतलब करना पड़ता है तो इट कनेक्ट्स विद द मसल, तो दिस इज कॉल्ड न्यूरोमस्कुलर कोऑर्डिनेशन। तो जैसे कोई लिख रहे हैं, नोट कर रहे हैं, तो उनका पहले उन्होंने सुना, तो उनका जो है उसको कहते हैं कि आपको उसको स्पार्क दिया ब्रेन में कि इन्होंने ऐसा, संजय जी ऐसा कह रहे, तो इसको उसमें क्या बात है। तो उसके बाद जो है उनका ब्रेन फंक्शन क्या, इसको नोट करना चाहिए, ये नोट करना चाहिए, ये दिमाग में जब आया तो वो इम्पल्स जो है हाथ में गया, हाथ के बाद उसमें उंगली में गया, फिर कलम के ऊपर आया, फिर कलम का चलाने का पूरा जो प्रोग्रामिंग है दिमाग में है, तो कलम चल पाए, उनको अक्षर ज्ञान है, शब्द ज्ञान है, व्याकरण का ज्ञान है, और वाक्य को बना सकते हैं, इसलिए वो लिख पाए। सो इट्स ऑल न्यूरोमस्कुलर कोऑर्डिनेशन। और मेरा जो पूरे टॉक का आधार है कि म्यूजिक क्यों इंपॉर्टेंट है, वो आपको एक वीडियो, छोटा सा वीडियो भी बताएंगे। वो इसलिए है कि हमें इनोवेटिव माइंड चाहिए जो नया कुछ सृष्टि कर सकते हैं। तो नया कुछ सृष्टि करने के लिए जो आम जो जगह ब्रेन का जो एरिया जो मतलब जिसका एक्टिवेशन होने से वो मतलब काम जनरल काम चलते उससे नहीं होता है, उससे ज्यादा एक्टिवेशन चाहिए होता है। तो इसीलिए हमें म्यूजिक वो काम करता है कि म्यूजिक जो एक्टिवेट कर सकता है। तो ये जो बेसिक ग्राउंड है जिसमें हमें क्रिएटिविटी टू इनोवेशन जाता है, इसके लिए म्यूजिक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। दिस इज द बेसिक ग्राउंड ऑफ द होल टॉक टुडे। तो मैं आगे थोड़ा आप लोग को बताता हूँ। So it is important that you get greater flexibility and engagement across diverse regions of the brain are more likely to generate fresh ideas. At this stage, we must understand that our brain gets expanded when we focus certain activity that happens because of some specific area of brain, and that area gets slightly expanded because of neuroplasticity. थोड़ा सा बताना पड़ेगा, ये थोड़ा सा अटपटा सा है कि सीधा सीधा लगता है कि म्यूजिक से नहीं जुड़ रहा है, लेकिन आपको गारंटी देता हूं कि म्यूजिक से पक्का जुड़ेगा, पक्का जुड़ेगा। थोड़ा सा मैं बताऊं कि आइंस्टाइन का जो ब्रेन था वो याद नहीं आ रहे, एक म्यूजियम में रखा हुआ है, उसके साथ उनके ब्रेन जो उनके डेथ के बाद तो ब्रेन निकाली गई थी, उसको 100 टुकड़े कर दिए गए थे और साइंटिस्ट को भेजा गया था। तो देखा गया कि उनके ब्रेन का वजन एक तो कम है, और कहीं कहीं उसका फॉर्मेशन जिसको कहते हैं प्लास्टिसिटी, मतलब मोल्डिंग डिफरेंट हो सकता है, तो फॉर्मेशन डिफरेंट है। आइंस्टाइन वाज अ जीनियस, इसको बोलने की जरूरत नहीं है, ठीक है, अब हम लोगों सबको मालूम है। तो अभी ये जो और उनका ब्रेन जो है एकदम बच्चा जैसा था, इट वाज नॉट यू नो लाइक जनरल शेप, जैसे जनरल लोगों का ब्रेन होता है ऐसा नहीं था, थोड़ा सा डिफरेंट था। तो हमारा जो इनोवेटिव काम करने के लिए, जैसे कोई जो भी काम करते हैं ना, उस एरिया ब्रेन को, उस एरिया में वो एक्शन, जैसे मसल, जैसे बाइसेप ऐसे बनाते हैं आप एक्सरसाइज करने से, राइट, मतलब जैसे बॉडी की एक्सरसाइज होती है तो वो शेप्स अलग अलग शेप होता है, ऐसे ब्रेन का भी जिस ढंग का मतलब काम ये ज्यादा करेंगे, उसमें उससे मोल्डिंग होता है, वो न्यूरोप्लास्टिसिटी, इसको न्यूरोप्लास्टिसिटी बोलते हैं। तो ये न्यूरोप्लास्टिसिटी इज ए ग्रेट वर्किंग फोर्स, एक खास ढंग का न्यूरोप्लास्टिसिटी जिसमें आपके इनोवेटिव थॉट सामने आएंगे। आपका जो है इनोवेटिव, अगर ज्यादा लोग, एक बड़े पॉपुलेशन अगर इनोवेटिव बन जाएंगे तो देश, ये विश्वास किया जा रहा है कि देश के प्रगति जल्दी होंगे। दैट इज द आइडिया।
Sir, should I play the video of third slide?
देखिए जस्ट लर्न, आई हैव कंप्लीट है भाई, 1.5 घंटा बोलनी है भाई।
अच्छा,
अब
ओके
ऐसा
सर। सर, आपको स्लाइड दिख रही है ना? सेकंड स्लाइड अभी चालू है।
अभी कुछ
और
नहीं दिख रहा, हमें स्लाइड नहीं दिख रहा है, जब
पीपीटी शेयरिंग चालू है सर जूम
हो
पर।
सकता है, मेरे पास स्लाइड है, हार्डली मैटर्स।
नहीं आप सर ऐसा हो तो नेक्स्ट स्लाइड ऐसा बोल दीजिएगा तो मैं यहाँ से चेंज कर दूंगा।
हाँ बिल्कुल, मैं बेशक
है ना।
बताऊंगा, आप
मैं
चिंता
अभी
मत
सेकंड स्लाइड पे हूँ सर, सेकंड स्लाइड पे।
करिए। सेकंड स्लाइड चल रहा है अभी, सेकंड स्लाइड चल रहा
ओके जी
है। ओके,
जी सर।
गुड गुड गुड। So what happens? We get the command through our five senses. We know the five senses: chakshu, karn, nasika, jiva, twak. Our brain receives music through ears and connects to our neurons in the brain. Then the magic happens. Music is a powerful medium here that generates very powerful and wider impact in the larger areas of the brains that the other than other stimuli. उसमें किसी में नहीं, even visual arts से भी नहीं होता है, बातों से नहीं होती है, वो म्यूजिक से होता है। आपको वीडियो में थोड़ा सा वीडियो देखेंगे तो आपको पता चलेगा। I shall play for you a short video that will explain it. The important point is that music excites not only the commonly active areas of the brain, but also those that usually remain untouched. Like the sympathetic strings of a sitar, once set into resonance, these areas enrich the whole system. Think of it this way: every action we take begins as a spark in the brain and finds expression through the intricate dance of neuromuscular coordination. The seamless link between our nervous system and muscles that allows thought to turn into movement and imagination into action. Without this bridge, even the simplest gesture, a word spoken, a note played, would remain locked in the brain. अब expressed नहीं हो पाएगा. Now let us pause and look closer. Innovation never springs from routine. It is born when the brain ventures into new pathways, activating networks that thrive on freshness and flexibility. This is the very essence of neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reshape itself. And here, music plays a remarkable role. When raga connects with untouched, with the familiar, it does more than soothe the ear. It stimulates non-routine neural activity, nudges the brain into creating fresh pattern of thought. If such engagement were to reach a larger population through the improvisatory richness of raga and the deep concentration it demands, we would see not only more musicians, but more minds trained to innovate. Just as muscles grow stronger with varied exercise, the brain too becomes more agile when challenged by music's creative demands. This is not a small claim. It is the very foundation of human advancement. From the first tools shaped by early humans to the lips of modern science, every breakthrough has come from minds that have dared to move beyond routine. Music, especially in its improvisatory forms, is one of the most natural and profound ways in preparing the brain for that leap. And so the vision of NEP 2020 to cultivate creativity, this creativity is emphasized. Though we are not merely preserving culture, we are shaping the very conditions that make future innovations possible. Here's a small video. Please play the video. Next slide, please. मैं थोड़ा सा 1 मिनट बता दूं, थोड़ा सा आपके साथ इंटरेक्ट करना चाहता हूं मैं, क्योंकि हम एक साथ में बात करके मतलब नहीं है। आपको किसी का माइक ऑन करना है, माइक ऑन कर दीजिए, हम छोटा बताएंगे लेकिन इंटरेक्शन हो। ये है कि आप हमें इनोवेटिवनेस चाहिए। इट इज डिसाइडेड बाय द कंट्री। हमें देश ने कर दिया कि हम ज्यादा पॉपुलेशन बनाने से इनोवेटिव है, नई नई बात सामने लाए, तो कंट्री जो है बाई 2040 एकदम से हाइट पे ऑलरेडी पहुंच गए बहुत दूर, और बाकी रास्ता भी तय कर लेंगे। तो उसके लिए म्यूजिक इसलिए हेल्पफुल है कि म्यूजिक जो ब्रेन के पूरे ब्रेन को एक्टिवेट कर देता है। तो जो आदमी साइंस के है वो जगह म्यूजिक के साथ उनका जैसे जुड़ गए, तो चांसेस है कि उनका स्पेशल एरियाज एक्टिवेटेड हो जाएंगे। तो साइंस का जो दिमाग का जो जो वो काम करते उसके साथ थोड़ा सा एडिशनल जैसे कनेक्शन हो गया, तो चांस है कि वो इनोवेटिव काम करने लगेंगे। दैट इज द आइडिया। प्लीज गो अहेड, प्ले द वीडियो। I'm not getting the video sign. Please tell me when the video is over.
Excuse me, there is no audio coming. There is no sound. Is the sound there in video?
Yes, definitely, yes.
Jaideep Bhai, can you please help?
Okay, leave the video. Then leave the video. If it is not working, forget that. Okay. Oh, that's coming. Yeah.
Which areas of the brain are responsible for each activity? So when you're talking, for example, a small light in the left hemisphere of the brain will light up on the screen. On the other hand, if you're drawing a painting, a light on the right hemisphere will light up. Interestingly enough, when they connected a musician playing an instrument to the machine, they saw multiple parts of the brain lighting up and simultaneously processing different information. Order, fastness, and interrelation were noticed.
So video has been over. And sir, if you want to see the PPT sharing, you can also join from your device, another device, phone or something, so that you will be able to see the PPT slide.
Never mind.
Okay.
I have it here. Never
Okay,
mind.
okay, sir.
Okay, so you have changed to slide 4, right?
Yeah, we are on slide 4. Creativity as the engine of anything.
Fantastic, fantastic, super. The National Education Policy 2020 places a strong emphasis on the development of creative potential as one of its foundational pillars. It envisions education not merely as a system of transmitting information, but as a seedbed of imagination where learners can be encouraged to ask new questions, design innovative systems, and reimagine old traditions in contemporary ways. In this vision, creativity is not a decorative addition to learning. Rather, it becomes a central engine that drives innovation, adaptability, and progress in a rapidly changing world. So creativity जो है हम करते क्रिएटिव है ये बहुत अच्छा ऐसा नहीं है क्रिएटिव इज इंडिस्पेंसेबल कंपोनेंट जो हमें पूरे उसमें आगे बढ़ाएंगे सो क्रिएटिविटी अभी साइट में है ना वो नहीं है एक साथ जुड़ के चलेंगे हम और ये की नई बात भी नहीं है आगे बात करेंगे ये हजारों साल से हमारे देश में है unique positioning of music to play an effective role. Among all the arts, music holds a uniquely transformative role in nurturing creativity. Research today strongly supports this observation. Studies in neuroscience show that music activates and reshapes brain networks involved in creativity, emotion, and cognition. This effect is made possible by the brain's capacity for neuroplasticity, the ability to form new connections and reorganize itself in response to experiences. When students engage in music, their brains light up in multiple regions simultaneously. In motor areas responsible for coordinated action, in ideation centers where original thoughts take shape, and in emotion-related regions where human sensitivity and empathy are cultivated. Music, in this sense, works like a tuning fork for the mind. It sets up resonances that awaken creativity and allow other faculties to vibrate in harmony. Innovativeness, the backbone of national progress. Innovativeness, in turn, is the true backbone of national progress. It is not just a personal gift or an individual achievement, but a collective resource for the advancement of society. Carefully nurtured creativity and innovation have witnessed scientific breakthroughs, economic resilience, and cultural flourishing. Innovative ideas, when strategically implemented, create pathways to progress and help a country to move steadily toward the status of a developed nation. That is the idea. This nurturing creativity through education is not an optional pursuit. It is the essential highway to substantiate development. I must repeat, creativity कोई optional pursuit नहीं है. It has to go. All of us, all the students must pass through creative engagements to be innovative. Music as catalyst of innovative thinking. When this framework, music can be positioned as a catalyst of innovative thinking across all disciplines. By integrating music studies meaningfully into education, students acquire enhanced problem-solving abilities, cross-disciplinary imagination, emotional resilience, and a spirit of collaboration. This is not merely an aesthetic benefit, it is a strategic tool for preparing the innovative human capital that the nation requires. Please slide change to 4. Let us briefly discuss the importance of synergy in music education. This is absolutely essential. To realize this vision, music must be woven systematically into the structure of education from the K to 12 level to universities. At the early school level, music can nurture creativity in the form of play, curiosity, and free expression. At the secondary level, it can cultivate structured thinking, improvisation, and teamwork. By the time students reach the university stage, music-based creativity can be channeled into research, innovation, and interdisciplinary applications. This continuum creates a chain of innovation, ensuring that the creative curiosity of a child evolve into the innovative problem-solving abilities of an adult. Such a design allows creative minds to connect directly with the broader goals of national development. In science and technology, music-trained creativity support discoveries and unconventional thinking. In entrepreneurship, it fosters resilience, adaptability, and originality. In the arts and culture sector, it ensures heritage preservation while simultaneously enabling modern relevance. In social leadership, it builds empathy, inclusiveness, and vision. When taken together, these different applications of creative energy merge into a single highway that leads the country towards sustainable development. If sustainable development is the destination, innovative minds are the vehicles, and music is the fuel that keeps them moving forward. I want to repeat this sentence. If sustainable development is the destination, innovative minds are the vehicles, and music is the fuel that keeps them moving forward. The importance of synergy in attending these visions. In conclusion, NEP 2020 has thoughtfully placed creativity as one of the guiding stars of its educational philosophy. Music, both as an art and a science, is uniquely positioned to unlock that creativity. If music studies are strategically framed and implemented at all levels of education, India will be able to cultivate a generation of innovative thinkers, minds that do not just dream, but also build. In this synergy, NEP's vision and the transformative power of music lies the possibility of accelerating India's journey towards becoming a truly developed and sustainable nation. Next slide, please. Slide 5. Friends, one of the most revolutionary lines in the National Education Policy 2020 is also one of the simplest. It says there should be, quote, no hard separations between arts and sciences, between curricular and extracurricular activities, between vocational and academic streams, unquote. Now, at first glance, this may look like just another point in a long policy document. But if we pause for a moment, we realize this is not a small adjustment. This is like pulling out the bricks of a centuries-old wall, allowing light and air to flow freely between rooms and was sealed off from one another. Can you picture those walls in your own student days? जैसे जो साइंस के स्टूडेंट है उनको आर्ट्स का कुछ नहीं मालूम, आर्ट्स का स्टूडेंट को कॉमर्स का कुछ नहीं मालूम, स्कूल को सोचिए आप, तो जहां पे स्पेशलाइजेशन हो गया दूसरे को दूसरा कुछ नहीं मालूम, एक ही एरिया में बड़ा हो रहा है और एक एक ढंग के बच्चे बड़े हो रहे हैं, एक दूसरे का कुछ नहीं मालूम. Why did we build these walls in the first place? Why at all? Why was science placed in the throne room of education? But science कैसे राजा हो गया? While the arts were pushed to the side chamber, treated as ornamental, the reason is partly historical. Human survival from fire to electricity to the internet has leaned heavily on science and technology. It seemed natural that societies would crown science as supreme. But that is only half the story. Every great science leap has required imagination. Newton's apple was not just an object falling, it was a question asked differently. Einstein's relativity was not just mathematics, but a vision that bent the very frame of reality. And imagination is nurtured by the arts. To celebrate science while ignoring the arts is like admiring the sturdy trunk of a tree while forgetting the hidden roots that feed it. पेड़ तो देख रहा है, इतना बड़ा पेड़ है, उसका मतलब जो है रूट ही भूल गए तो पेड़ का क्या है, पत्ता कहाँ से आएगा? और जो भी बड़े डिस्कवरीज, जो बड़े इन्वेंशन साइंस में हुए, उसमें सब इमेजिनेशन सब में लगा हुआ था. So imagination or innovativeness is extremely important. Next slide, please. This is where NEP 2020 makes its bold intervention. It recognizes that true creativity does not emerge into airtight containers. It happens at the crossroads when analysis shakes hands with imagination, when logic finds rhythm in empathy, when structured science dances with the free spirit of art. The policy tells us clearly this old divisions are not healthy. They create hierarchies that not only undervalue certain disciplines, but also prevent students from realizing their full range of gifts. It is like asking a bird to fly with one wing tied. Then why you expect, okay, next slide, please. Just hold on. What's fascinating is that this so-called new idea is actually very old in India. Our knowledge traditions always celebrated wholeness. Think of Vanavatta's Kalambari or the classical list of 64 colors. A complete education meant mathematics, medicine, yes, but also music, painting, poetry, architecture, even the art of conversation and play. There was no hierarchy here. It was a garden where many flowers bloomed side by side. Isn't it striking that our ancestors saw no contradiction in learning both astronomy and poetry? Raga music itself embodies this. A raga is not merely an art or a skill. It's philosophy, psychology, physics, and spirituality woven into a single experience. When a raga unfolds, it is not a vocational act. It is a bridge between the measurable and unmeasurable. In that sense, NEP 2020 is not inventing something new. It is reminding us of our own civilization wisdom. Let me take music as an example. For decades, it was dismissed as an extracurricular activity, a nice hobby perhaps, or at best, a vocational track for the few, but never considered as serious as mathematics or science. Modern research, however, has shattered these prejudices. Neuroscientists, as already we discussed, showed us that music lights up the brain like a city at night. Multiple regions, memory, pattern recognition, creativity, motor skills all glow simultaneously. Music does not just entertain. Music does not just entertain. It rewires. Imagine a student who studies both physics and raga. Physics gives her resonance, frequency, sound waves. Raga gives her rasa, emotion, improvisation. Together, this become more than the sum of their parts. She could innovate in sound engineering, in artificial intelligence, or in fields we cannot yet imagine. This is a magic that happens when walls dissolve. The NEP also extends this principle beyond arts and sciences. It says, let us stop treating music, theater, or sports as extras. When these are integrated into the curriculum, students no longer feel torn between their passion and the serious objects. Head and heart can grow together. And vocational learning. For too long, it has been seen as second class, a fallback. NEP challenges this prejudice. It says skill, whether carpentry, coding, or classical performance, is not inferior to theory. In fact, the graduate of the future may well be the one who can weave both. So friends, NEP 2020 is not merely a policy reform. It is an invitation to pull down the walls, to let knowledge breathe freely, and to allow our students to grow not in compartments, but as whole human beings. Next slide, please. Slide 7. How then should music education be reimagined under this vision? 1. Integration with sciences. Music courses can connect with physics, mathematics, and neurosciences. 2. Integration with social sciences. Music can illuminate history, anthropology, economics, and business. 3. Application-oriented assessment. Students can be assessed not merely on memorization of theory, but on how they apply music through performance, compositions, therapy, or even entrepreneurial projects. 4. Flexibility across streams. Music should be available to science students, commerce students, humanities students without restriction. The aim is to allow a physics student to also perform in a raga ensemble, or a business student to research music industries. This is how we make music education a rich academic program, not just a hobby or a vocational track. If we take NEP 2020 seriously, this no hard separation, this is the NEP principle, has implications far beyond music. It redefines the very purpose of education. No longer is education about fitting students into rigid boxes, science, arts, vocational, etc. Instead, it is about nurturing the whole person, allowing talents to grow in multiple directions, and preparing citizens who are not just specialists, but also innovators and humanists. Imagine a generation of doctors who are also trained musicians, engineers who are also poets, entrepreneurs who understand theater, or scientists who appreciate philosophy. Such individuals would not only excel in their fields, but also carry with them empathy, creativity, and ethical awareness. So, friends, the principle of no hard separations, this is NEP principle, is not a minor clause in NEP 2020. It is a call for educational transformation. It is an invitation to dissolve harmful hierarchies and create a fluid, interconnected world of learning. And within this vision, music shines as both symbol and substance. It symbolizes integration of science and art, of intellect and emotion, and it offers substance, practical ways to innovate, to connect disciplines, and to inspire young minds. As we move forward, let us remember the walls that divide disciplines are of our own making. The mind itself knows no such barriers. When we open the gates between arts and sciences, between curricular and extracurricular, between vocational and academic, we do not dilute education, we enrich it. Next slide, please. Now we shall discuss on the emphasis on conceptual understanding rather than rote learning and learning for exams that we have been vouching all these years. One of the most striking principles of the NEP 2020 is its call for emphasis on conceptual understanding rather than rote learning and learning for exams. When we unpack this statement, we can see that it highlights three distinct but interrelated points. One, emphasis on conceptual understanding. Two, discouraging rote learning, that is memorizing. And three, discouraging exam-driven learning. This is very bad, exam-driven learning, but we have been doing it throughout. Let us now take up conceptual understanding, rote learning, and learning for exams one after another. Let us begin with the first. Conceptual understanding is not simply the ability to recall facts. It is the ability to organize, interpret, and apply knowledge meaningfully. When a student understands a concept, that knowledge becomes a tool, something that can be carried across contexts, used to solve problems, and even extended to new domains. It is the difference between memorizing the formula for the area of a triangle and actually knowing how to apply it when designing a roof or a garden. In the field of music education, this distinction becomes very clear. A student may learn a rag by memorizing a fixed composition or related lesson. This is rote learning. But unless the student understands the grammar of the raga, its inner emotions, uchchar, etc., then the mood will not come out during its performance. They cannot create and improvise or truly perform it. Conceptual understanding of raga music transforms learning from parroting a tune to living and expressing the essence of the raga. In contrast, rote learning operates rather like depositing coins into a temporary vault. Information is stored in memory, but without assimilation. The moment more information is required, the vault is emptied to make space. In music, such students may be able to reproduce a bandish note for note, but when asked to elaborate or improvise, they falter because the inner logic has not been assimilated. Learning for exams is an inevitable partner of rote memorization. Many music students, for example, prepare only with an examination in mind. They memorize a set number of ragas or talas for a grade exam, but soon after, much of this knowledge evaporates. Their focus is on passing or doing good in the examination, but not on understanding, exploring, or performing. This reduces music to a checklist rather than an art that expands creativity. Reflections on student. Assessment method also. Now, if rote memorization and exam-centric preparations are discouraged, an important question emerges. How then should we assess students? Exam kaise lenge phir? After all, assessment is the mirror through which learning is measured, and if the mirror itself remains flawed, the vision of reform remains incomplete. NEP 2020 hints at answers. It recommends moving towards competency-based assessment, where students are evaluated on what they can do with that knowledge rather than what they can recall under pressure. In music teaching learning, this would mean assessing whether a student can apply their knowledge. Can they improvise within a raga? Can they demonstrate sensitivity to rhythm, pitch, and expression? Can they creatively interpret a composition? Such assessments are far more important than asking a student to merely reproduce memorized lessons. Beyond music, too, methods such as continuous and comprehensive evaluation, project-based work, portfolios, adaptive digital assessments, and collaborative tasks are already being explored. These forms of assessment record a student's receptivity, creativity, and ability to apply ideas in real-world contexts. Developing stakeholders' acceptance of students' understanding over secured marks is very important. I must repeat this. The stakeholders, to develop stakeholders' understanding on developing understanding, the stakeholders, they are actually involved in the whole process, the whole ecosystem. They have to understand. It is important that students develop that understanding, not only get very good marks. So this, we have to look at that. However, reforming assessment is not a matter of mere substitution. We cannot simply replace the examination with another rigid mechanism. The system requires thoughtful preparation. Teachers need training in designing meaningful assessments. Institutions need infrastructure wherever there is that kind of infrastructure is not available to support continuous evaluation. And perhaps most importantly, society itself must learn to value understanding over marks. This is the most important point. In short, the NEP's rejection of rote learning is not just a call for better classrooms, but for a reorientation of the entire academic ecosystem. Conceptual understanding equips students with lifelong tools. Rote learning deposits only fleeting facts. Music education gives us a perfect metaphor. Rote memorization may help a student pass a grade exam, but true learning happens when the student understands the raga deeply enough to improvise, to create, and to make the knowledge their own. This is the true challenge and the true promise of moving beyond rote learning and the spirit of NEP 2020. Next slide, please. Slide 10. We can now consider a backward design approach for music education connecting NEP 2020. मैं थोड़ा सा बात कर लूँ इसमें कि कोई भी चीज अगर हमें हासिल करनी है तो जो हासिल करनी है, जहां पहुंचने हैं, जो ऑब्जेक्टिव है, उसको सामने रखकर फिर बैकवर्ड डिजाइन, उसको रिवर्स इंजीनियरिंग भी कहते हैं, वो रिवर्स इंजीनियरिंग करना पड़ता है। मतलब आपको हमें ये जाना है तो हमें ऐसे ऐसे स्टेप्स चाहिए। जैसे अभी शायद वो चाय बनाने वाले वो आ गया, मतलब पेज आ गया, तो उसमें देखिए, मैं तो अलग से हूँ, लेकिन उसमें देखिए कि फर्स्ट जो है वो चाय बन रही है, चाय मतलब उस प्याले में चाय डाल रहे हैं, तो उसमें एक टी बैग भी है उसमें, दैट इज द फाइनल थिंग कि वो चाय बनाने के लिए वो केटली के अंदर टी बैग डालनी है, वो बाहर दिख रहा है, और वो जो चाय जो डल रहा है, तो दैट इज द फाइनल सिनेरियो। ये आपका ऑब्जेक्टिव है। ये ऑब्जेक्टिव को पाने के लिए आपको पानी गर्म करनी पड़ेगी, उसके लिए आपको पानी चाहिए। सो राइट साइड में देखिए, लेफ्ट इज द फर्स्ट थिंग, द ऑब्जेक्टिव। राइट में देखिए कि एक टैप है, टैप से पानी गिर रहा है और एक केटल में। तो फर्स्ट थिंग इज दैट यू हैव टू फाइंड वाटर। ओके, you have to find water first, then maybe a vessel first, then find water and put the, मैंने उसको जो है वेसल आपको उसके टैप के नीचे लेना पड़ेगा, जहीं से आपको पानी मिले वहां पे जाना पड़ेगा। तो यू हैव टू एश्योर कि वहां पे पानी है, ठीक है। उसके बाद उसको पानी लिए, फिर उसको गर्म किए, आपको कोई कहीं ओवन में रख लिए, कहीं रख लिए, फिर ओवन का आपको इंतजाम देखना पड़ेगा, फिर ओवन में रखे, फिर ये सेकंड स्टेज हो गया। तो थर्ड स्टेज हो गया, फर्स्ट स्टेज इज द वेसल, सेकंड इज द वाटर, थर्ड इज द ओवन। उससे पानी गर्म हुआ, फिर पानी जो है वो केटल के अंदर, फिर टी बैग डाले, दैट फोर्थ स्टेज। उसके बाद वो कुछ देर तक उसका मेथड भी मालूम है, कैसे कितना क्या करना है, कितना गर्म होना है, कितना सेंटीग्रेड में जाना है, पूरा मालूम है। उसके बाद जो है वो कुछ देर तक उसको सोख के टी बैग को, फिर पानी चाय बनी, फिर उसके बाद वो चाय को डालने के लिए प्याले जो भी है, जो प्ले उस काप भी है, वो काप कभी आपके पास होना चाहिए, फिर वो काप में आप डाल दो, दैट इज द फाइनल थिंग। तो आपको वो काप में चाय चाहिए, दैट इज योर ऑब्जेक्टिव। तो उसको आप बैक कैलकुलेट करके आप कहाँ पहुंच गए, पानी में पहुंच गए, ये वेसल में पहुंच गए, जो जहां पे आप पानी लेंगे वहां पहुंच गए। दिस इज रिवर्स इंजीनियरिंग, दिस इज बैकवर्ड डिजाइन अप्रोच। तो ये बैकवर्ड डिजाइन अप्रोच के बिना कुछ भी नहीं होगा, क्योंकि हमारा हम तो बोलते जाए तो हमारे एग्रेंस्ट में बोलना पसंद भी नहीं है, लेकिन हमारा मेन प्रॉब्लम यह है कि हमारे जो है स्टूडेंट जो आते हैं उसमें वो बात होगी कि वो ज्यादातर स्टूडेंट जो है, जैसे अंग्रेजी पढ़ने के लिए जो जाते हैं उनको 12 साल का बैकग्राउंड लेकर जाते हैं, हमारे स्टूडेंट जो है इतना बैकग्राउंड लेकर नहीं आते मोस्टली। तो इसलिए हमें प्रॉब्लम हो जाती है, ये भी एक प्रॉब्लम है अमॉन्ग्स thousands other problems. So we can now consider a backward design approach for music education connecting NEP 2020. The National Education Policy 2020 highlights as one of its foundation principles synergy in curriculum across all levels of education, from early childhood care and education to school education to higher education. This principle is not about mechanical continuity, but about a careful, thought-out flow, a continuum of experiences and competencies that transforms a child's playful curiosity into professional mastery and responsible citizenship. To design such a continuum, we must begin with clarity about the final goals, then trace backward. Backward design as a method to translate NEP's vision into reality. The method of backward design is extremely effective. It involves 5 logical steps. 1. Define the end goals, the portrait of the graduate or researcher, whatever, the end of university level. 2. Identify required qualities, competence, skills, values, dispositions. 3. Map developmental stages, when and how each quality should emerge, primary level, secondary level, higher level. 4. Locate milestones, break-off points. Some qualities consolidate early, others need long-term cultivation. 5. Design curricula with coherence. Each stage prepares the student for the next. This is the architecture of synergy. Let us take a case study of music education. Let us use music as a case study to see how the principle can be concretely applied. Suppose our end goal is a professional musician of the 21st century who embodies the following qualities. A, artistic and performative mastery. For them, deliver a 3-hour concert with technical virtuosity, creativity, and aesthetic sensitivity. 2, maintain strong stage presence, audience rapport, and communication skills. Then at the B, we can also think of professional and entrepreneurial abilities of the student. Develop entrepreneurship skills, designing concert tours, initiating collaborative projects, and managing finances. Then negotiate effectively with organizers, sponsors, and institutions. Understand copyright and intellectual property rights as professional survival skills. Without entrepreneurial orientation, even the finest artist risks remaining invisible. And if his synergy calls for these skills to be cultivated in tandem with musical skills, not as an afterthought. Then digital competencies and market visibility. Harness digital platform for the students, they should also learn this. Harness digital platforms for self-promotion, distribution, and audience building. Use artificial intelligence tools for music analysis, personalized pedagogy, and creative collaborations. Master digital communications for marketing and networking. Since NAP 2020 emphasizes this integration of technology in all spheres of learning, music education must prepare students for visibility in digital marketplace where careers now thrive. Preservation of traditional values. Internalize the Ragatala grammar, Guru Shishya ethos, and the traditional aesthetics. Recognize myths and the critical reinterpretations without diluting authenticity. Serve as custodians of cultural heritage even while adapting to modern demands. A river cannot flow without its source. Modern musical skills must be rooted in tradition. Else innovation becomes hollow. NAP insists on grounding contemporary learning in India's rich cultural knowledge system. Let us now think about applications of indigenous knowledge. Learn indigenous pedagogy methods such as oral transmission, improvisation, and memory training. Apply Indian acoustical knowledge, stage traditions, and philosophy of music to enrich performances. Explore indigenous insights for holistic well-being. NEP repeatedly emphasizes Indian knowledge system. Music offers a living example for indigenous methods continue to be effective, proving that modernity and traditions can synergize. Then we shall talk of interdisciplinary connectivity. Link music with psychology, physics, communication, and management. Understand music as a bridge to philosophy, history, even neuroscience. NEP 2020 explicitly states no hard separations between arts and science. Music in its essence is interdisciplinary, serving as an ideal case where boundaries dissolve naturally. Developmental mapping. How should these goals be distributed across stages? Early childhood and primary level may go for joyful music making, rhythm games, storytelling, seeds for creativity, and cultural pride. Middle school students may go for skill foundation, early exposure to technology, teamwork, and cultural appreciation. Secondary schools may go for structured repertoire learning, introduction to entrepreneurship concepts, early training in digital media use. Undergraduates may go for advanced artistry, intellectual property awareness, indigenous theory, intercultural dialogues, basic entrepreneurship. Postgraduate may go for independent projects, global collaborations, digital visibility strategies, leadership roles, and contributions to the Indian knowledge systems framework. Synergy across levels of education as envisioned by NEP 2020 means that every quality, artistic, professional, digital, entrepreneurial, cultural, and interdisciplinary is mapped carefully across stages of learning. For music, this synergy ensures that the graduate is not only an excellent performer, but also an articulate communicator, a responsible custodian of tradition, a savvy entrepreneur, a digital native, and a collaborator, etc. Yeah, you want to tell me something? Is there a question? No? Okay. In short, a complete individual capable of thriving in both heritage-based and globalized future of education. Next slide, please.
So can you please say the title of the slide? A backward design approach for music education.
Okay,
That
okay.
was the okay, sir.
Yeah. This is slide 11, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The National Education Policy 2020 makes one truth abundantly clear. No education system can rise above quality of its teachers. ये टीचर वाला स्लाइड है ना, एक महिला है 3-4 पुरुष है, वही है ना स्लाइड अभी क्या
Yes,
लिख रहा है?
yes, sir.
हाँ
Yes.
ठीक है क्योंकि हमें दिख नहीं रहा है. Okay, so teachers, faculty, mentors, and gurus form not only the foundation but the living spirit of any teaching learning system. They are not simply transmitters of information, they are cultivators of understanding, builders of confidence, and custodians of wisdom. One, teachers as knowledge bearers and facilitators. It is the preparedness of teachers that prepares students. A well-prepared faculty translates educational goals into tangible learning experiences. The preparedness involves much more than subject knowledge. It demands, one, pedagogical strength, where lessons are designed for clarity and engagement. Two, technological adaptability, where teachers use digital platforms to make learning accessible. Three, collaborative approaches, where peer discussion and interdisciplinary links enrich the classroom. Thus, faculty preparedness is not merely about retaining knowledge, but about creatively delivering it, sustaining the classroom's liveliness, and ensuring student progress through careful monitoring and timely interventions. Faculty preparedness has continuous professional development. The NEP 2020 goes beyond conventional expectation by emphasizing, one, faculty autonomy, allowing teachers to innovate in methods and materials, to continuous professional development, ensuring teachers grow alongside changing academic and technological landscape. The integration of indigenous knowledge system, reminding us that Indian education must draw strength from its own civilizational wisdom. It should get strength from its own civilizational wisdom, even as it engages with global knowledge streams. Preparedness, therefore, is not a one-time achievement, but an ongoing journey of self-improvement, reflection, and realignment with emerging needs. Let us take music as a case study, the Guru Shishya tradition in modern context. Music, particularly Hindustani Raga music, as an illuminating example, in the Guru Shishya Parampara, the Guru was not just a music instructor, but a life mentor. He or she imparted indigenous knowledge that went beyond notes and rhythms, transmitting discipline, aesthetic sensitivity, and even spiritual values. A guru taught not only what to sing, but how to live as a musician. Today's music faculty must reinterpret this role. Preparedness here means using pedagogy that explains raga structure conceptually rather than through rote limitations. Employing technology such as recordings, online platforms, or artificial intelligence-based feedback to assist practice and analysis. Encouraging collaborations by connecting raga music with dance, theater, cinema, or even neuroscience, thereby making it more interdisciplinary. For example, a sitar teacher today must guide a student in mastering a raga's subtle gamakas while also showing how to record, present, and share that performance in a global digital space. This is how the living indigenous knowledge of music adapts to contemporary realities. The conceptual breadth of faculty roles. We must not restrict our view to classroom activity alone. Faculty responsibility as NEP 2020 stresses include designing learning pathways aligned with holistic education, mentoring students for entrepreneurship and visibility in creative fields, ensuring continuity of indigenous knowledge traditions while also welcoming innovation. This broader vision ensures that teachers become catalysts of transformation, not just facilitators of exams. Teachers as the living curriculum, let us look at that this way. The teachers are the living curriculum. They embody the very principles we hope students will carry forward: clarity of thought, adaptability in methods, cultural rootedness, and openness to innovation. Just as a raga unfolds from a single note into a vast melodic journey, so too does education unfold from the efforts of a single teacher into a lifelong learning of many students. When teachers stand prepared in knowledge, in pedagogy, in technology, and in preserving indigenous knowledge, they transform policies like NEP 2020 from documents into a lived reality. The syllabus is a script, but teachers are the performers who bring it alive. If we invest in their growth and autonomy, we ensure that education in India will be not just efficient, but inspiring. Next slide, please. When we talk about creativity and innovation, the two words often appear side by side. Yet they are not quite the same thing. Creativity is the starting point, the spark of a new idea, while innovation is the journey of taking the spark and turning it into something useful, impactful, and lasting. Think of creativity as planting a seed, and innovation as nurturing it into a flowering tree. Without the seed, there can be no tree. But without nurturing the seed, creativity itself remains unrealized. The relationship between creativity and innovation is central to how we imagine progress in today's world. Our focus in this chapter is to see how creativity functions as the backbone of creativity and innovation, a dynamic relationship. Let us clarify what we mean by these two terms. Creativity is about generating something original and meaningful. Innovation is about applying that originality in ways that bring value, whether in science, technology, business, or the arts. Scholars like Anderson or M.A. Byle have written extensively on this continuum, reminding us that creativity is not optional for innovation. It is indispensable. I repeat, creativity is indispensable for all subjects to be innovative. Imagine a musician discovering a new melodic phrase during a raga performance. That is creativity. But if the phrase evolves into a new interpretive style that influences how others approach the rag, that becomes innovation. This illustrates, मैं थोड़ा सा एग्जाम्पल देता हूँ कि जो म्यूजिक के जो लोग हैं, आप लोग एक्सपर्ट्स हैं, आप आता हुसैन खान साहब, महबूब खान साहब जोक बनाए थे, तो जोक बनाया था दोनों निशान से बनी थी. अभी जो है पूरा जोक जो है, जो सारे हिंदुस्तान में ज्यादातर जो लोग राग जोक बजाते एक ही निशान से बजाते, कोमल निशान से बजाते, दोनों निशान उड़ गया. तो किसी अच्छे म्यूजिशियन को दिमाग में आया कि एक निशान से ज्यादा अच्छा शक्ल हो रहा है. अब लोगों को ये कंफ्यूजन हो गया, मैं नाम नहीं बताऊंगा, लेकिन बहुत बड़े म्यूजिशियन वो बोले कि ये जोक तो कोमल निषाद का ही है, लेकिन कुछ कुछ लोग दोनों निषाद से गाते बजाते हैं. सो द सिचुएशन इज कि इनोवेशन ऐसा हो गया कि जोक जो दोनों निषाद का था, उसमें एक किसी ने सोचा कि कोमल निषाद से ज्यादा अच्छा बनेगा, वो जो है कोमल निषाद का ही हो गया. ऐसे ही आप भातखंड जी का वो पढ़ेंगे, शब्द शास्त्र पढ़ेंगे, आप तो सब लोग पढ़े ही हुए हैं. तो उन्होंने जो आशावरी बताया था, किसी ध्रुपद में आशावरी ऐसा था नहीं, आशावरी कमोल ऋषभ से था, लेकिन उन्होंने शुद्ध ऋषभ से कर दिया क्योंकि हद्दुका हसुखा जो है उनको तान में प्रॉब्लम था, तो कोमल से शुद्ध बुद्धम जाने में तान में प्रॉब्लम था, शुद्ध ऋषभ से आसान पड़ता था, तो उन्होंने शुरू कर दिया. वो वाज दे वर वेरी वेरी पॉपुलर म्यूजिशियंस. तो आशावरी जो है चलने लगा ख्याल में, शुद्ध ऋषभ से, लेकिन ध्रुपद पूरा नहीं, ध्रुपद नहीं है, ऐसा भास्कर जी खुद लिखे, लेकिन भास्कर जी उसी को थाट बना दिया, दैट्स अ डिफरेंट इशू, सो उनकी चॉइस है। तो वो इनोवेशन हो गया। क्रिएटिविटी तो उनका था, हद्दुका हंसुका का था कि कोमल ऋषभ से शुद्ध ऋषभ कर दिए। संभवत रविशंकर जी का था कि दोनों निशान से एक निशान, संभव था, मैंने बताया तो ठीक से नहीं मालूम, कि शुद्ध दोनों निशान से कोमल निशान में कर दिया। इतना पॉपुलर हो गया, लोगों ने पूरा एक्सेप्ट कर लिया उसको, पूरा हिंदुस्तान एक्सेप्ट कर लिया, पूरा संसार एक्सेप्ट कर लिया कि कोमल निशान से ही जोक बजती है। तो ये जो है इनोवेशन हो गया क्रिएटिविटी से। रविशंकर जी के लिए, अगर रविशंकर जी किए होंगे तो उनके लिए वो क्रिएटिविटी था, लेकिन वो जो है सबने एक्सेप्ट कर लिया तो इनोवेशन हो गया। Music as a living laboratory of creativity. Now here is a relationship more evident than in music, particularly in Indian Raga traditions. Every Raga performance involves a delicate balance. On one side, there is the strict grammar of the Raga, rules of scale, mood, and ornamentation. On the other hand, there is the freedom of improvisation. The artist respects the rule but never simply repeats what has been played before. Each performance is therefore unique, alive, and unrepeatable. This dynamic is in itself a form of creative training. It demands flexibility, quick thinking, and adaptability. Interestingly, these very qualities are transferable to non-musical fields. Research shows that skills honed in musical improvisation, pattern recognition, memory, divergent thinking also sharpens problem-solving abilities in mathematics, design, technology, and social sciences. Furthermore, Raga music is often performed collaboratively, whether in an ensemble or in Jugalbandi. Collaboration requires listening carefully, adapting in real time, and building upon others' ideas. If you think about it, this is precisely what happens in research teams, startups, and creative industries. Musical collaboration thus become a model for interdisciplinary innovation. How creativity works in the mind, we have been discussing. We already discussed that. Neuroscientists have identified several large-scale brain networks that interact during creative activity. The default mode network is active when we generate spontaneous associations and ideas. The executive control network helps us evaluate and refine those ideas. The salience network allows us to switch attention between possibilities. In a raga performance, these processes are visibly at play. आप उसमें एफएमआरआई करके एक मशीन है, उसमें आदमी को घुसा दिया जाए, उनको म्यूजिक सुनाया जाए, तो बहुत क्लियरली एविडेंट है कि पूरा जो दिमाग जो है चल रहा है, पूरा दिमाग में वो स्पर्क हो रहा है। और ये जैसे दूसरे विषय का कोई जैसे साइंटिस्ट को जैसे इसका म्यूजिक का वो हो गया, मतलब एक्सपोजर रहेगा और खुद करेंगे, तो चांसेस है कि दैट पर्सन विल बी मच मोर इनोवेटिव. दैट इज द आइडिया. The music generates ideas on the spot, evaluates them against the rules of the raga, and constantly shifts focus to match the rhythm, the fellow performance, and the audience's mood. This dynamic interplay is what makes creativity not a fixed talent, but a trainable capacity. By engaging in improvisation, we strengthen the brain's ability to balance freedom and discipline, the same balance that drives innovation in other fields. In India's indigenous art forms, particularly Raga music, offered a distinctive model of creativity, what we may call structured freedom. Unlike many Western traditions that depends heavily on the fixed scores, Raga is sustained through oral transmission and improvisational practice. A performer never starts from a blank slate, but from a shared tradition. Within that tradition, however, lies infinite scope for renewals. This approach teaches us that creativity does not always mean breaking away from the past. It can also mean reinterpreting the past in fresh ways, keeping continuity alive, while allowing space for novelty. The philosophy of creativity, deeply rooted in indigenous knowledge, is not only sustainable but also highly relevant to the challenges of our times. The new educational policy is very clear. As we also discussed earlier, students should not merely memorize, they should learn to think, to imagine, and to innovate. This is where indigenous art forms such as Raga music become valuable. Imagine if Raga improvisation were not confined to music classes but integrate into broader learning. A mathematics teacher might use rhythmic cycles to explain patterns, or a design workshop might incorporate improvisational exercises to stimulate fresh thinking. Coding sessions could be linked with musical structures to develop algorithmic creativity. Such cross-pollinations allow students to see creativity not as a separate activity, but as a way of approaching problems across disciplines. The NAP invites us to treat creativity as central, not peripheral. By embedding music and other indigenous knowledge systems into curriculum, we create a fertile ground where innovation can thrive. Beyond education, creativity is also a currency of the modern economy. Industries are increasingly built on originality, adaptability, and collaboration. Musicians trained in improvisation are well prepared for this world because they have internalized flexibility as a habit of mind. Whether adapting to digital platforms, creating new performance spaces, or collaborating internationally, they embody what it means to innovate. In this way, Raga music offers not only cultural enrichment but also entrepreneurial potential. It equips individuals with the mental tools to respond to a rapidly changing environment, a crucial asset in the 21st century. Challenges to realizing this vision. Yet we must also recognize the challenges. Academic structures often remain rigid, undervaluing arts-based knowledge. Indigenous traditions may be sidelined as optional and ornamental, rather than treated as central to education. Without resources, teachers' training, and institutional support, the bold vision of NEP 2020 risks remaining on paper. Acknowledging these challenges does not diminish the potential of creativity. Rather, it reminds us that innovation requires structural as well as individual change. The classroom, the institution, and the policy framework must work together to cultivate creativity. Creativity and innovation are not separate worlds, but two stages of one continuous journey. Raga music illustrates this journey in practice, showing how tradition and novelty can live together in balance. It demonstrates that creativity is not an occasional act, but a way of thinking, a way of being. NEP 2020 offers us an opportunity to place creativity at the center of education, and indigenous knowledge like Raga music provides the model to achieve this. Just as no two Raga performances are identical, yet each remains faithful to its identity, so too must our innovation remain rooted yet dynamic. Creativity provides the spark. Innovation turns that spark into light. If we allow both to flourish, it prepares not only students but entire society for a future of sustainable growth and meaningful change. Next
Sanjay
slide,
ji,
please.
Apologies for interrupting you. We have limited time, so request you to kindly wind up with the presentation at the earliest.
It's 12:26. Okay.
Ji, ji,
Okay.
sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Go to the last slide, please. Friends and colleagues, as we have journeyed through the ideas of Raga beyond performance, strategic alignment of India's musical heritage with higher education reform under NEP 2020, one message resounds clearly. Creativity is not a luxury, but very lifeblood of education and progress. The NEP has given us a vision where learning is not the storage of facts, but the flowering of imagination, where music is not an extracurricular pastime, but a strategic force shaping minds, building resilience, and nurturing innovation. Raga, in its essence, begins with a single note, unassuming, almost fragile. Yet, through expansion, exploration, and improvisation, it becomes a vast universe of sound, feeling, and meaning. In the same way, the education begins with the smallest spark of curiosity in a child, but if nurtured with care, it unfolds into creativity, innovation, and wisdom. The task before us is to ensure that our institutions, our teachers, our society recognize and cultivate this journey. Music shows us how boundaries dissolve between science and art, head and heart, tradition and modernity. It reminds us that structured knowledge and free expression are not opposites, but companions. In this lies the promise of an education system that can prepare not only specialists, but whole individuals, innovators who are rooted in tradition yet agile in global feature. Let us therefore carry this vision forward. Let us not see music only as performance, but as pedagogy, as philosophy, as a living laboratory of creativity. If we align it strategically with NEP's ideal, we may create a generation for whom education is not a ladder of examinations, but a raga becoming, where each phrase builds upon the last, and the journey itself is transformative, just as a raga reaches its crescendo by gathering all notes into harmony. Let us strive to bring together creativity, interdisciplinarity, teacher empowerment, and indigenous knowledge in one resonant whole. In that harmony lies not only the future of education, but the future of our nation. Education must be more than a ladder of exams. It must be a raga of transformation. Thank you. Namaskar. Any
Thank you,
questions
Sanjay ji.
quickly?
Yes,
What
we
I
can have
Yes.
couple of questions we can have from the members joining.
Yeah, please. Please go ahead.
Sir,
Yeah,
sir, this is Ajay Kanwal from MSU Baroda.
G.
Sir, I have one question. Can you elaborate left and right brain impact of
कौन सा फिर से हिंदी में बताइए, समझ में नहीं आ रहा है.
सर राइट और लेफ्ट ब्रेन का
वो एक ये है कि राइट और लेफ्ट ब्रेन का ये जो है ये अभी इसका थोड़ा सा कॉन्सेप्ट बदल गया है. पहले ये था कि राइट ब्रेन में आर्टिस्टिक वो होता था, मतलब जो आर्टिस्टिक जो इम्पल्स है राइट ब्रेन में होता था, और जो लॉजिकल वो जो है इसमें लेफ्ट में होता था. लेकिन अभी सब थोड़ा सा ना, इसको ये पहले ऐसा सोचा जाता था, लेकिन अभी जो है जैसे म्यूजिक है, म्यूजिक क्रिएटिव है, पूरे ब्रेन में उसका जो है इम्पल्स है. पूरे ब्रेन में आप बताओ कि म्यूजिक में जितना काम है, आप थोड़ा सा सोचेंगे कि उसमें, जैसे आप नोटेशन लिख रहे हैं, आप पढ़ा रहे हैं, आप सीख रहे हैं, आप सुन रहे हैं, आप एक कोलैबोरेट कर रहे हैं। हेलो, सुनाई दे रहा है आपको? हाँ।
यस सर।
तो ये जो है, इसके कारण, क्योंकि हर ढंग का एक्टिविटीज हम करते हैं, म्यूजिक जो है, जैसे विजुअल आर्ट में सिर्फ जो राइट हैंड में होता है, जैसे पेंटिंग को कोई कर रहा है ना, आप देखेंगे वो जो वीडियो मैंने दिखाया था आपको, किसी का वो ऑन है, जोर से है आपका स्पीकर, किसी का, उसको बंद कर दीजिए, म्यूट कर दीजिए, रिफ्लेक्शन आ रहा है। तो किसी जो है कि आपने वो वीडियो में देखे होंगे कि कोई ड्राइंग वो कर रहे, पेंटिंग कर रहे हैं, तो उनका राइट ब्रेन में इंपल्स हो रहा है, दिखा रहे हैं, वो लाइट ब्लिंक कर रहा है। तो एफएमआरआई मशीन में भी घुसाएंगे तो वही दिखेगा। लेकिन म्यूजिक का ऐसा है कि म्यूजिक में क्योंकि अलग अलग ढंग की एक्टिविटीज होती है ना, तो ब्रेन के पूरे एरिया जो है, जिसमें उसमें लॉजिक है, क्रिएटिव है, इनोवेटिव है, हर एरिया जो है वो काम करता है। और मैं और एक बार बता दूं कि बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट मैं समझता हूँ कि जो आइडिया है कि म्यूजिक को हर चीज के साथ जोड़ा जाए अगर, तो एक इंजीनियर जो है विल बी ए बेटर इंजीनियर, साइंटिस्ट विल बी बेटर साइंटिस्ट, बिकॉज उनका जो न्यूरोप्लास्टिसिटी के कारण उनका ब्रेन का शेप ही अलग हो जाएगा म्यूजिक के कारण। तो वो पूरा ब्रेन, क्योंकि नॉर्मली जो होता है जगह एक्टिवेट हो रहा है ना, उससे ज्यादा एक्टिवेशन हो रहा है, तो वो हो सकता है चांस से, ये तो चांस की बात है, नेचर की गिफ्ट है, लेकिन वो हो सकता है इनोवेटिव होकर बहुत काम की चीज सामने लाए। थैंक यू राजेश। वाज दैट राजेश केलकर जी? हेलो,
Hello
is there
sir.
any
Me too.
is there any other question?
I guess, sir, we'll wind up with the session since we'll have to move on
Okay, good.
for our next speaker.
Number two is that I wish, that is my wish, is your part, that whether you do that. The whole lecture is on YouTube, and you can share the link and my email ID. So if there is any question, I shall be glad to respond. Okay, good. All the best. Thank you.
Most definitely. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank
I
you.
request Fenil sir to kindly share the word of thanks and briefly summarize
Wait,
the session.
Sunil sir, एक minute. Sanjay sir, can we share the PPT with the participants so that they can prepare for their exam?
Definitely, yes. I would prefer that you share the YouTube link, that the
Okay,
whole thing is there, that whatever I skipped also,
okay, sir.
all are there. So you can share the PPT, but PPT will not tell anything. But if you
Okay,
give them the YouTube, that is 1 hour and maybe 20 minutes, that will tell
okay,
everything.
okay, sir. Okay,
Okay. Also,
thank you.
PPT will be there in the YouTube. The
So,
PPT is also there.
okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, also give them my ID, email ID. I don't mind. I don't mind to take questions.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, all the best. Take care. Take care. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Namaskar. On behalf of all the participants and the organizers, I express my heartfelt gratitude to our respected resource person, Professor Sanjoy Bandopadhyay, for such an enlightening and inspiring talk. Sir beautifully explained how the optimization of music education in NEP 2020 can shape the future of our students. We learned about the deep relationship between music and neuroplasticity, and how music can actually help in developing the brain. He also reminded us the creativity is the engine of NEP 2020, and music plays an important role in bringing creativity into education. The idea of synergy in music education was very meaningful, showing how collaboration and harmony can lead to better learning. Another important point was that in the spirit of NEP 2020, there should be no hard separations between subjects, and music should be seen as connected with all areas of knowledge. Sir also highlighted the importance of teacher education about indigenous knowledge, which is very valuable for preserving and promoting our own traditions. He further made us understand the difference between creativity and innovation by giving live examples from Indian classical music, which was very inspiring for all of us. He beautifully said that the creativity is like planting a seed, and innovation is like nurturing. Sir also highlighted the importance of true learning instead of rote learning, which is very relevant in today's times. One very inspiring statement from the session was, innovative minds are vehicles for sustainable development of our country, and music plays an integral part. We are truly grateful for these valuable insights, which will surely guide us in our teaching and learning journey. Thank you so much, sir. Namaskar.
Thank you, Dr. Soni. You did it so well.
Thank you,
Very
sir.
good Thanksgiving and very good summarized. Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
I'm
sir.
glad that you took these points. Okay.
Thank you,
Take
sir.
care. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.